So if you have 2 blocks, you can set them on top of each other, and you can have.
I'm so short, I might be good with one.
Oh yeah. Do you want to use these because they're thicker?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can stack your blocks and then straddle the blocks with your feet. Then you'll sit back onto the block. So I'll turn this way so everybody on the camera can see too how it works. If you don't have blocks, you can obviously sit on a thick pillow or a cushion. And this is a really cool way to meditate. If you're ever able to just sit with your thoughts, it's not usually that painful as some other poses might be. So we're going to start actually with some breath work. So this is a good time to do alternate nostril breath. So take your right hand and bend in the first and middle finger to touch your palm. Then you'll have your ring finger and your thumb finger on the side of each nostril. Then you'll close the left nostril and breathe in through the right. Then hold your breath for 1 second. Close the right nostril, breathe out the left. Hold for 1 second, breathe back in the way you came through the left. Slow it down, hold, close that left nostril, breathe out the right. Hold, breathe in through the right. Hold, close, breathe out the left. Try to slow the breath to 4 seconds if you can. Hold, breathe in through the left. Hold, close the left, breathe out the right. Hold, keep going back and forth. And try to do 7 more rounds on your own. Once you finish those rounds, just bring your hands back to your lap. Close your eyes or take a soft gaze and allow your breathing to become soft and gentle, and just notice how you feel. And let's start with a neck stretch. So take your left hand behind your back and see if you can grab the inside of that right elbow, the little elbow pit. If you can't, it's okay. Just rest your hand on your lower back or tuck your hand into your pants behind your back. And from here, you're going to drop your right ear toward your right shoulder. Right ear, right shoulder. And just come to your first edge of resistance, right where your body wants to stop, and begin to relax the shoulders. And from here, tuck the chin to the chest and drop the nose toward the right armpit. And bring the head back to center nice and slow. Take that arm out from under your back and just sit here sitting straight up and notice how you feel on either side. And then we'll take the right hand behind the back. See if you can grab the inside of the left elbow or just rest it on your back. And drop the left ear toward the left shoulder. Coming to that first edge of resistance and stopping, relax the shoulders. Imagine each breath is going straight into that area where you feel the most sensation. I remember I had a student one time who said they were confused when I said, breathe into your hips. Like, your breath doesn't go into your hips, it's your lungs. But if you actually pay attention, you can feel your breath go throughout your whole body. It takes intense concentration. I actually did that today when I was getting acupuncture. I had needles all over, and I practiced breathing and focusing on the breath, and I could feel the breath at every point of the needle, every needle. Every breath in, the needles would feel like they dug in a little bit more. Every breath out, I could feel the energy kind of dissipating from that area. So if you pay attention, you can notice it. And from here, drop the chin to the chest, nose to the armpit. And slowly bring the head back to center. Unwind that arm. And from here, we'll take a few neck or head circles. So nice and slow. And see what you notice. Any sensations, any sounds, any crunching. And reverse the circles. Once you feel even, just come back to a straight spine. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. And come off of the blocks, set them to the side. And from here, we're going to come into butterfly pose. So if you have a blanket, you can sit on that blanket. You don't need to sit on a blanket. If you can do butterfly without it, you can take the soles of your feet to touch and your knees out wide. So if you want to take more of a restorative pose, you can take your blocks underneath each knee, but you don't have to do that. It's up to you. And we can start off by giving your feet a little massage if you're not weirded out by touching your feet, as I know some people are. Not naming any names. And if you have trouble, like when you're folding forward in these forward folds and it feels like gravity's pulling you back and it's really hard to fold forward, I recommend sitting up on your blocks or your blanket, short side to short side. And then that just elevates the hips so you can access the fold a little bit easier. So when you're ready, you can walk your hands forward and fold, or if you want to add the shoulders in, like if you have any neck tension, you can cross your arms and take eagle arms. So right arm on top of the left, hug yourself. You can round forward and tuck the elbows in, or if you want to take the full eagle arms, go for it, touching the palms and rounding forward. If you don't feel like doing the arms, just take the hands out wide and let your back round.
Too much gravity.
Too much, yeah. It's good to experiment though, because sometimes it'll work better that way. Sometimes not. Just a reminder, you can always come out of these poses at any point in time. Once you find the pose that you think you can hold for a while, you want to relax the muscles in the targeted area. Right now we're targeting the inner thighs, hips, and back. Then try to become still in the pose. Unless your edge changes, it becomes too much sensation. Sometimes things release in these poses and you go too deep, then you might need to back out. Or sometimes you lose sensation because you opened up something, and therefore you would need to go deeper to feel more sensation. And tonight, I want you to focus on the breath in each pose. Decide if the breath is pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. Decide if the breath is shallow or deep. Does the breath feel labored or relaxed? On your next inhale, rise up nice and slow. We always enter and exit slowly. And close the knees like a book. You can rest on the back on your hands behind you and take your knees side to side. They don't need to go all the way down to the ground, just a little bit of movement here. When you move after the poses, it allows the energy to kind of move out of that targeted area quicker. And the recovery is a little bit faster. All right, we're coming down to hands and knees, tabletop. So if you want to take a blanket under your knees, you can. You don't have to. So from tabletop, your hands will be more or less under your shoulders. Not exact, possibly. And then you're going to come down to your forearms. So elbows down. Bend in the right hand, like you're going to grab the inside of that left elbow, but you're not going to grab it. It's just going to go all the way to the ground. Then stretch that left hand down the mat toward the front of your mat. Rest your forehead on your right forearm. Coming into quarter dog. So here you can adjust the knees. The knees can be behind the hips. They can be in front of the hips. They can be wider or closer together. You decide what feels best for you. Then melt your heart down to the ground. So you're pressing the chest down, looking for a sensation in the left side body. So left shoulder, left side, under the arm, in the armpit. You may also feel sensation in the lower back. If you're not feeling enough there in the left side body, you can take your hand, that left hand, on a block or two. By elevating that hand, you can then press that arm down toward the ground and get a deeper sensation. We'll begin to notice the breath here. What's it like in this pose? And give yourself permission to let your thoughts drift. And when you wake up from that drifting and you realize that you were drifting off, just try to stay in that moment of realizing that. Before you drift off again. And slowly come up to tabletop. From tabletop, tuck the toes under, and we're going to walk our hands back toward the knees and lift the knees up, coming into a squat. We're going to take it differently tonight. We're going to stay on our toes with our hands on the floor. Knees are wide, our arms are in between our legs. So drop your hips. So you can just, Cindy, just kind of lift your knees and drop the hips. I know it's hard. So if you want, you can sit on your blocks. If this is too much for you, or you just want to take it a little easier tonight, you can stack your blocks and put them between your feet and come back into that yogi squat that we take normally in class. There's two ways to do this squat. You can sit here on your blocks or your bolster, or if you want to stay on your toes and your hands, this is kind of like a stretches the Achilles tendons and the shins. It's okay. So we can raise the blocks up even more if you want. I can give you more blocks. Do you want to stack these? Because I don't know how stable that is. Yeah, here. We'll add one and see how that is. There you go. Do you want another one? That's good. It looks good. Does it feel okay?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. If you haven't done this pose in a while too, you're definitely going to feel it. But it is functional. It's a functional movement. So it's good to get in it. And notice your breath in this pose compared to the last. And if you have a tight neck, you can take those neck or head circles again. You can take one ear to one shoulder. Or you can slowly move the head in circles like you're going through honey, nice and slow, mindful and controlled. You can just switch back and forth. We carry a lot of stress in our shoulders and neck, a lot of us. It's good to take those stretches when you can. We'll be here for 10 more breaths. And from here, slowly press into the mat with your hands, lift the hips, coming into a forward fold. The knees can be bent as much as you need, or you can straighten them, whatever feels best. You can take a little sway side to side or grab opposite elbows for ragdoll. You can bend one knee, straighten the other leg. Let that head hang and relax. And from here, you can walk your hands down to the mat, bend the knees, coming back into tabletop. Once you get to tabletop, drop to your elbows and bend in the left arm this time, taking quarter dog on the other side. So walking that right hand forward, rest your forehead on that left forearm, lift the hips up and back, and melt the heart down to the ground, kind of pressing that right shoulder down toward the earth. Decide where your knees feel the best, closer in or out. The target area here is the lower back, but mostly the right side body under the shoulder. So it doesn't really matter what your knees look like in this pose. Just whatever you can get the best mild sensation on the right side for you. If you need to take a hand on that right hand on a block for more sensation, then please take that. And come up nice and slow to tabletop. You can take a few cat-cows if you'd like, or a down dog, or sway the hips, whatever you feel you need to kind of let go of any tightness from that last pose, or let that energy kind of disperse and dissolve away. Once you feel balanced, take your blocks to the top of your mat. And then you'll step your right foot forward, coming into lizard or dragon pose, they call it in Yin. We're going to take baby dragon. So we'll take the block to the inside of that right foot, and the right foot walks out the mat. And press the hips forward and down, and coming into that first edge of resistance once again, and then relax there. So soften the thighs, the hips. So even if you can come really deep in a regular yoga class, this class, just go right where you want to stop at first, and then let your body soften into it. And notice the breath in this pose. Notice if it changes. Is it soft or is it forceful? Become aware that just like thoughts, the breath is ever changing. You can stay right where you are, or try to wing out that right knee coming onto the right outer edge of that right foot. You don't have to do this. You can stay right there in baby dragon. If you want to add a twist to this, which you also don't have to do, you can take the right hand onto that right knee, and only keeping the hips where they are, only turning the rib cage to the right. Just listen to your body. If you have enough sensation in baby dragon, stay in baby dragon. Definitely are not a baby by staying in baby dragon. It's a super hard pose. 5 more breaths. And bring the knee back to center if you had it winged out. And from here, take your block or cushion, whatever you have, right behind that right heel, or the front heel, whichever foot you're doing. And then you're going to walk that foot over to the left of your mat and rest your thigh on the block for screaming swan. I know it sounds scary. It's actually kind of fun, I think. And you can angle in that foot toward your body more for less sensation, or kick it out for more. You can stay on your hands or drop to your elbows on a block or to the mat. If that's too much with the block, you can remove the block and just take regular pigeon, or take this on your back. If you want to take it on your back, you just take that figure 4, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh, and grab the left thigh and pull it toward your chest. So you pick your favorite. Remember to listen to your body. I'm not going to know if it's painful. Only you will know that. We want a mild sensation.
When you hear screaming, you'll know it's
Yeah, if you're screaming, then you're definitely in screaming pigeon or screaming swan. No, you should not be screaming. I don't know why they call it that. We are targeting that right outer hip, so make sure you're feeling sensation there. If you're not, let me know, and I'll help you get there. And so we'll come up to our hands, lift the back leg, send that right foot back to meet the left, take a down dog or tabletop, whatever feels nice. Maybe stay in tabletop and stretch one heel back at a time. Once you feel somewhat balanced there, come back down to table and take that left foot forward for dragon, baby dragon on the other side. Send the hips forward and down, but stop at that first edge of resistance. And begin to relax the hips, the thighs, maybe your shoulders from your ears. It's okay if they creep up to your ears if that makes you feel more protected. Just trying to relax the muscles in the targeted area, which is the front of the hip and the inner thigh. You may feel sensation in the outer hip as well. And from here, you can stay right where you are, or if you want to take winged dragon, taking that left knee out to the side. If you'd like to add a twist, keeping the pelvis where it is, just turn the rib cage only toward that left knee. And bring that knee back to center. And if you have a block or a cushion, take that behind the left heel or whichever heel is in front. Walk that foot over to the right and set the thigh on that block for screaming swan. Really need to come up with a better name here.
Left screaming swan.
You love screaming swan?
Left screaming.
Left screaming.
First right, then left.
Yeah. So when you're ready, you can stay on your hands or fold forward to your elbows or to the ground. You wouldn't take out that block if it's too much. Five more breaths. Notice the breath in this pose. And come back up to your hands nice and slow. Take any counter pose that you like. And once you feel balanced, we will all meet on our back. Give your knees a hug when you get there. Then let your knees fall over to the right. And melt your chest open to the sky for a supine twist. Look to the left if you can. And take your knees up high toward your shoulder, as high as you can get them. Relax the belly. And imagine yourself softening all the muscles down the spine. Noticing the breath here. On your next inhale, bring the knees up to center. Give them a hug into the chest. As high as you can get them, let them fall over to the left this time. And melt the heart open to the sky, look to the right. Again, relaxing the muscles down the spine and the belly. And bring the knees back to center. Give them a final hug. And prepare for Shavasana, final resting pose. Once you get completely relaxed, take 3 long, slow breaths, allowing the edges of your body to dissolve into your mat. And begin to notice the breath for one final time tonight. And start to deepen that breath. Bring movement back into your body. And roll over to one side of your body. When you get there, take a moment to reflect on your practice tonight. Were you able to notice the breath ever changing in each pose? And inhale the biggest breath of the day. Open your mouth, let it go. Press up to a seated position. Bring your hands together at heart center when you get there. And bring your chin to your chest. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Thank yourself for showing up tonight. I thank you for sharing your practice with me. Hope to see you next time. Drink a big glass of water. The light in me honors the light in you. Have a beautiful night.